Welcome back. We are in the Digital Center here on WJHL Plus as we continue our preview of the 2025 school year. Today, we are joined by the Superintendent of Sullivan County Schools, Mr. Chuck Carter. Chuck, thank you very much for taking time for us as we get ready for a new school year. Where do we begin, and how do you manage these last few days before school starts next week?
And thank you, Casey, for having me here today. Always happy to talk about what's going on in Sullivan County. Yeah, it's kind of that fast and furious pace right now. Everything's coming together. There's a lot of PD happening across our district today. As a matter of fact, we've got different teacher groups in different buildings going over those the new things that are coming their way. New technology. We have science curriculum that's new this year, so there's training going on in that. New teachers are being trained, career and technical education. There's something for everybody going on today. And just in preparation for those last few days, Thursday, we have a back to school convocation. So that one's big on everybody's radar. So a lot going on in Sullivan County.
Been in the big chair now for a couple of years. Talk about what you've learned in that time about Sullivan County. As far as most populated school system, largest landmass when it comes to the school system. When you talk about Sullivan East all the way to the west side of the county, and how you manage all those different factors to make sure every child gets the individual learning they need.
So I guess first thing is give credit to our leadership team at our central office. It's not me. It's definitely a team effort. There's so many great people there that get the work done every day. Yeah, 2 years in, I can't use that excuse as I'm the new guy. So it's kind of hit home, and I've taken that to heart, and I've challenged all of our administrators to challenge their teachers. I want to grow. I want to be accountable, and I want them to grow and be accountable. So I think this year for us, for as far as our leadership teams, our administrators, it's that growth opportunity, and also the fact that we're accountable and we want to be accountable. We're glad to be accountable. So uh, a lot of that focus going on, and then we want to transfer that down to our teachers because we know if we're holding ourselves accountable, our kids are getting the best that we have to offer.
We talked a little bit about the focus of the entire district and the wide range of opportunities you're providing students. We joked it's not the same school that we went to. Describe some of the things that make Sullivan County Schools unique and some of the things you're doing to provide that top quality education for your students.
Yeah, so I'll start by just saying, our mission statement in Sullivan County is to prepare all of our students to be career ready, to be whatever that is, whatever success looks like for the students. So, with that in mind, it doesn't just start when we get to high school. It starts way back there in kindergarten or even pre-K. So, we're putting a lot of emphasis on making sure every student in every school has that opportunity to be ready for that third grade test that comes way before third grade. And we have a team at Rock Springs Elementary School who's leading the charge in that. They've gone out across the state and been asked. Several conferences and school systems have asked them to come and do this training on the characteristics of dyslexia. Out of every classroom, there's probably about 4 or 5 students, about 20% of your class who may have the characteristics or those symptoms of dyslexia. It's not necessarily recognized. So having that ability to let teachers know what to look for, that's huge in elementary. Then finding the ways to help them learn the best. So elementary, middle school, getting those firm foundations down so they got those skills in math, reading, science, and social studies. But then when they get to high school, opportunities it's just like the doors just go wide open. Our goals are that one of the goals would be that in middle school, students are getting high school credits before they get to high school.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're doing a lot of that prep work, getting that in place. Algebra 1 has already been there, but we're thinking about things like principles of manufacturing, the health science courses, culinary arts 1, all of those courses giving kids those early opportunities. So when they get to high school, they get more of the chances as juniors and seniors to be involved in dual enrollment, work-based learning, apprenticeships. We have a great program that we partnered with Ballad Health through a Bloomberg grant, and Sullivan East and Westridge have students who have the potential of getting their LPN or close to that LPN license before they graduate high school. Isn't that crazy? So, and then we have students who walk across the stage at Northeast State before they ever walk across the high school graduation. So, getting those opportunities to every student, expanding it, getting more opportunities. a lot of flexibility in that schedule, so a lot of individualized. We even have online courses that figure into those schedules. Just it's not the same school that we went to, Case.
And no, just a lot of opportunities, which leads me to a question I've asked each of the leaders. We talk about attendance everywhere I go throughout the year. As I create Educator of the Week feature stories, attendance comes up. How do you use all of those opportunities to sell the students and the families on getting into school, finding something they love, and improving that number, a percentage of students that come consistently throughout a school year?
Great question. I do think one of the keys to that, and we're really trying to aim in on this and focus hard on, is relationships. I think the more that we have somebody earlier saying to a child, "We need you in school, and I want you. What can I do to help you?" So we've got a couple of attendance coaches, um, graduation coach, attendance coaches, whichever way you want to describe them, but they're assigned to one to each of the zones, and they're making those early contacts, and then from there going back to the schools and saying, "Hey, I talked to this parent, I talked to the caregiver. This is what they're really struggling with." So we try to find all the resources that we can to help them, so maybe we can mitigate those challenging circumstances and break down those barriers and get kids there in school where hopefully they can make a connection and then be successful there as well.
You have some experience, some broader perspective, a statewide experience. Let's talk about some of those issues. Vouchers in the state of Tennessee for the first time. State funding is always, kind of a game to play to figure out how much is coming in and how much you need. And then at the federal level, some big news in the last 7 days. You get a little influx here right before the school year. How do you manage all of those outside factors and bring them into Sullivan County?
You know, and I'll try to go in order. I may, if I forget something, just let me know. But with the vouchers, my biggest concern is accountability there. We talked about accountability earlier. Um, I think choice is great. I think accountability needs to be there for everybody. So, I'm up to the challenge of other options being out there. I think if people really look at what we offer in Sullivan County and in public education in general, it's kind of like you and I were talking earlier. Uh, Welding, for an example, I just use that a lot of times. It's hard to weld if you don't have a welding shop. We have state of the art manufacturing, health science, all those different opportunities. So I like to think that getting kids in our buildings is the best option. So that's one thing. And then the other is just if we're going to take the state testing and be accountable for that, let's let everybody be on the same page, play on the same playing field. As far as state funding goes, though, I'm really excited about TISA. I think it gives us an opportunity to kind of, I won't say control our destiny completely, but there are incentives in there. And there are ways that we can kind of say if we put our efforts into this, it can actually benefit us. So I'm it's still new, and I'm still excited to see how much of that we can control our own selves. But funding isn't always going to be a major issue. And then I think we mentioned the federal funding, which we had some major funds that were on hold. Every district across the country was kind of holding their breath there. But I think we got some information just in the last couple of days that that funding looks like it's coming through to us. So we should be able to move forward with all the programs. And there were staffing positions. We were going to fund those regardless. So it's a little more easier to look at what our budget's going to be able to do this year because of that. So we're very grateful for that as well.
One thing I want to touch on as we talk about community is the Sullivan County school system's commitment to community when you team up with these businesses, industries. You mentioned, nursing, hospitals, medical field. Describe what you're doing to get your students in the fields that they're interested in. Sometimes they learn they love it. Sometimes they learn they don't, but to get them in there and figure it out.
That's it. That's the key is if you find out you don't want to do something, you mark it off the list. So we've made a big effort in Sullivan County over the last year to we've been calling it a rebranding, but it's really more of a repositioning ourselves. And that there's a multiple reasons. One, if we don't advertise and promote, then people won't know what we have to offer. So I think that's important. And then secondly, the more we put out the good news, the more it reflects on what our kids are doing. And so when our business and industry partners, like I said, we've got over 100. 100 businesses and industries that are hiring our students as juniors and seniors in high school. They're getting valuable experiences, finding out, do I like this? Do I not? Getting mentoring, which is so valuable. You can't buy mentoring in somebody in that field. And then they're getting the chance to go get those industry certifications, some cases degrees before they get out of high school. So we're sending out into the workforce a prepared workforce, not just somebody with a diploma or a degree. We're sending out somebody who really got hands-on experience, been mentored by somebody in that field, and now they're making decisions about, do I want to go seek a 4-year degree? Do I want to go in the military? Do I want to go to a technical college? Or do I want to pursue an apprenticeship, go to work, and then let my employer pay for me to go back to school? And all of those are success stories. So I had a friend used to say to students when they were juniors, and he'd say, "What are you going to do to get off mom's couch?" And that was always a funny story starter, but it's true.
It sure is.
What do you want to get out and do in this world? How do you want to make the world a better place?
Final thoughts for students, families, and staff as you get ready to start the new school year.
They better be ready because we're ready for them.
All right.
Bring it on.
Chuck Carter, Superintendent of Sullivan County Schools. Thank you very much for taking time for us. Have a great school year.
Thank you very much, Casey.
That'll do it for this edition. As we look ahead to the 2025-26 school year, we'll continue to talk to district leaders from all over the region throughout the next couple of days leading up to the start of the school year next week. Thanks for joining us and have a great school year.